Alright, any moment now I should be getting the little notification on my phone that tells me that I am in fact live. So that's always nice to have that now. I feel like, yeah, there it is. If I don't get that now, I'm gonna be it's gonna freak me out. So we're here, time to start on WWF Warzone. I talked about it a lot last night as I was signing off for these Wrecking Balls, and the thing is, I really wanted to get to this game so that I could find out pretty much once and for all if it's actually a game that's worth playing, that's got substance to it, that's got like, or if everything has just kind of passed it by, and when you go back to it, it really is that bad. And I even said last night, like, I know that you can't just jump into it, which is part of the problem with it. So I did play I think I played 2 matches last night with the challenge mode, and so, I have a little bit of an idea as to what's going on. I actually do feel kind of okay. I have the pertinent reading material. I have the manual for the game. Not that that's super helpful. I have the strategy guide from Acclaim, and the strategy guide from Acclaim is actually pretty much terrible, especially in the condition that I have it in, because I found out I'm missing the one part of the guide that actually is a guide. The front part of this has actually been torn out, which is the most important one because it actually shows you everybody's moves. And that right there is kind of the issue with this game, the reason that I was so nervous about it. And then I have the Nintendo Power, where is the front cover, which doesn't give it enough time. It doesn't have enough content in there to replace the piece of the strategy guide that I'm missing. So let's just go right back into what I was doing. I started the challenge mode, everything, and do I have to load this up separately? Maybe if I go to options and hit, nope. Yeah. I have it, yeah, you can set up autosave, which is nice. So I guess I start, and I want to go to challenge mode and continue where I left off, I assume. Which is, of course, yeah, okay, there we go. Mankind. So the issue that I know about going into this game is it's unlike all the other AccuCorp games. You can't go into this and just kind of jump around to whatever wrestler you want and have fun. Not that you can't have fun, but you can't jump around each wrestler at will. You have to. They intend it to kind of be like a fighting game where you have your mains, and so given that, if I'm going to have a main, it's going to be Mick Foley first of all. There is a really good character roster in here, and I'll do that after I do this first match against Farouk. I'll go back to the roster. We'll take a look at that because I have a lot of stuff I want to say about the roster for sure. Say one thing that impresses me for the N64. Obviously, it's super high compressed and everything. But at least they do have the music in here. They not only have little snippets of theme music. They have a lot of lines for the announcers. They have Vince and JR, of course, which sucks. Nobody wants to hear Vince on commentary. I sure as hell don't. I hate Vince on commentary. God, the Ron Simmons bear hug. Boom. So the first thing you might notice is some of the animations, which I have to say I don't think are quite as good in this game. You saw I just pulled off. I did the single arm DDT, which you'll probably notice me do a lot because it's one that I have the move kind of ingrained as my like go-to thing. But here's what you're looking at with this game and why it's different and why it's not as easy to just pick up and play, which is everybody has their move list, which plays out more like Street Fighter. They're not too complicated, thankfully. So it's not a Tekken style where you have to remember like 6 or 7 button presses in a row. You just have to remember sort of the Street Fighter S, the half circles, the back and forths, the everything like that. And then there's only 3 attack buttons, really. There's A, B, and left C. But the problem with that isn't is more that because it's a wrestling game, not only do you have a 3D environment to move around in, so it's a little bit different executing them in the first place, but you also have other wrestling stuff to do. So you have a block button, which is down C. You have 2 dodge buttons, which are L and R. This is a game where you can use the control stick, unlike the active games where you really have to use the D-pad. But I would still recommend going with the D-pad anyway. So you've got a really hot crowd over here at this WWF event where you in certain lulls in the action you can hear one person above all the rest of them. That's always a sign of a really great crowd, right? I can hardly hear myself talk, says Vince. Oh God, I hate Vince on commentary. I'm gonna reiterate that every time he says something. It's gonna get really old, but I don't know who's on the same page as me with that. But let me just talk about my hatred of Vince McMahon on commentary right now. If you watch, I mean, he's the commentator for most of the '90s. So like New Generation and on, he's the commentator. Right up until about the middle of the Attitude Era when he actually gets to be his own character. And goddamn, he has this one thing he does that won't really come into play in this game. But he has a sort of a, I don't know if I want to call it a cadence or it's just a sort of like his voice, his excitement level doesn't gradually go up and down. He jumps. He makes these massive jumps in his excitement, and it goes up really quick, and it kind of stays up there a lot. And that doesn't bother me so much. But what really bothers me about Vince on commentary is when something exciting is happening, and then it doesn't. Like, somebody, like, counters a move, or blocks a move or something, and he'll get way the hell up there with his voice, which is already annoying. Shawn Michaels is going in there, and Shawn Michaels, he's turning up the band, and no, it's blocked. And that drop, that fucking awful cadence, is so annoying to me. Every time he does it, his voice is already bothering me, and he just kind of, like, caps it off with this annoying cadence of just completely bottoming out on his excitement level. So I don't know if anybody else feels that. Like, it's not as bad when you just get to hear one line of his, because they can't keep it going. They don't have that many lines in this game, understandably so. Get him, man, God! Everyone talks too much. Oh boy, you never shut up. Looking Botchamania references up in here. I almost titled this Send for the Man, and then I realized that every time I see the Send for the Man thing on Botchamania, I'm not quite sure what the context is. And I'm embarrassed to admit that I didn't know for, like, any time I had seen the Send for the Man thing from somebody corpsing. I thought it was The Rock. The whole time I thought it was The Rock. Because they always, Matthew always cuts it. Before you get to see the person's face. So the only, like, and Macho Man is a super, super tan guy. And I thought his jacket honestly looked like something The Rock would wear around '99. So I legitimately thought that it was The Rock every time I saw that. So I almost titled it Send for the Man, and I was too embarrassed to do it. Not to mention that it was a WCW thing, So the other thing that I remembered is, wow, there's a lot of commentary. One-off lines from JR and Vince. Yeah, kind of like that. So I remembered a lot of that. You notice as I'm going here, a lot of it is striking because what happens is, you saw the moves list here. Oh, this is because I'm in this position. This is all you have to go. When they're in that position, you can check the move list at any time you want, right? No moves because I'm in the middle of a drop toe hold. But, alright, let's stop real quick right here. So you see all these moves. What's going to happen is if you try to do a move that uses A or B, or you know, it'll happen with any of them. because left is just a regular tie-up, and that'll lead to some sort of a sequence. But what's going to happen is if you attempt a move that's not really a move in your wrestler's arsenal, and cap it off with, you cap it off with the D-pad movement and then A or B, it's gonna, and it's not really a move, it's just gonna use a striking move. So it's like it literally is like a fighting game where, like, yeah, if you fail to execute any real move with whatever you're doing, it's just gonna hit, it's just gonna do a basic punch. That's why you're gonna see Mankind go for that haymaker all the time, because I always, whatever I do, I'm trying to use B, and then, like, if I try to do it in its left C, it's just gonna go for a tie-up, which, would be great, if I was playing a real grapple-based game. Finally, we're into that, that stupid, honestly, the other thing that I don't really care for, and I think the Aki games kind of have that too, or at least they make you feel like they do. But if you get into, I should have been doing this the whole time, honestly. But anytime you get into stun, oh hell no, nope, stun or a pinning situation, or even a hold, like a rest hold. The idea is that you have to start mashing buttons to escape from it quicker. I'm shouting for the nation. There we go. And I'm trying to remember what the special moves is. I had to look up what the special move. Obviously, Mankind. Since it's Mankind, he's gonna do the Mandible Claw. And I had to look up what the Mandible Claw would be if I had the ability to do it. I assume that. Oh God. I lost. If I have a special move, I think the flashing the name at the top, flashing has something to do with the special move. I don't know. I have to check the manual for that. So I lost. And then they give you all these. Thrasher wins a hard-fought battle with Bret Hart. Yeah, that'll happen. The Rock wins over Kane, because The Rock and Kane definitely would have been associated with each other at the time this game came out. Bulldog makes a loser out of Ahmed. That checks out. When did Ahmed ever really win stuff? I know he won the IC belt at some point, but... Oh, so I just have a rematch against Farouk now? Alright, I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to hold off on this for a second. What the video... Yeah. Let's have a discussion about this roster here, because there's a couple points to be made. I'll jump right back into it. So, obviously, Steve Austin. Steve Austin's on the front of the game. He's the whole selling point of it, because basically this came out summer of '98. He's the champ. He's in his impeccable run as champion, where Vince is throwing everything in the kitchen sink at him. Which is another thing when I just realized, Vince is already his character, and yet he's in this game as a commentator. He should not be on the commentary at all at this point. Here's the other two things. So Bulldog and Bret Hart are in here. Again, this game came out in June to August 1998, sometime in summer '98. Acclaim was very clearly making this game for a long, long time, and using a lot of their things that they already kind of had rolling around. Farouk's in there, that checks out. Goldust, that checks out. Triple H is, obviously he's past the Hunter Hearst Helmsley thing, but sometimes, especially in the manuals and stuff, they still call him Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Really, by this point, you just call him Triple H. Mankind's still in all the Brown stuff, which makes sense. The Rock right there, one of the funniest things, he is The Rock, but the strategy guide especially, keeps calling him Rocky Maivia, and I'm like, he's so outgrown that name by this point. Ahmed, naturally. So you got Bret Hart there. Owen, he's the treasure. Undertaker, Ken Shamrock, and Kane. And then Mosh and Thrasher. So I think the thing that really always gets me about this, Kane is in the same game as Bret Hart and the British Bulldog. Now, I might be a little bit hazy on the details of this, but Bret Hart. So obviously, we all know when Bret Hart left the company would have been November '97. Kane made his in-ring debut at Survivor Series against Mankind the same night as the Montreal Screwjob. So it just baffles me that Bret Hart must have been one of the earliest people that they were putting in this game, and I don't know how long they would have been making it. Must have been at least a year, I would imagine. They put Bret Hart in there, and they leave him in there despite the fact that he's been working for WCW for 8 months plus. And Kane is still in there, and that is just one of the weirdest roster choices you'll ever see, in my opinion. And then we have Shawn Michaels is in there too, so they bring you to Austin first, and then Shawn Michaels is right there. So Shawn Michaels has been out of the company for like 3-4 months, but nobody out of the company as a wrestler, I should say. I don't know when he came back as commissioner. And then you have Mosh and Thrasher, and to me, Mosh and Thrasher being in there is so weird, just because they're really like kind of all by themselves. Like the Headbangers were a big tag team at the time, but you gotta notice everybody else in here doesn't really check out as they're cared about the tag teams. There were so many tag teams and so many factions, but you know, how many other Nation members did they have in here? I am busy. How many other Nation members did they have in here? They have Farouk, and they have The Rock, who's feuding with the Nation, and Ahmed, who's feuding with the Nation at that point. It doesn't make any sense. There's no tag teams. I mean, Owen Hart and British Bulldog, but they didn't really tag either. So you kind of have to make your own tag teams to just go up against Mosh and Thrasher. So anyway, we'll just go in and we'll do we'll try and beat Farouk again, I guess. I was mentioning before, I had to look up how to do the mandible claw. So I guess this TV stack right here kind of moves like a zigzag, maybe. I don't know. Obviously, Austin's at the top, but all right. Let's see if we can do it this time.
Welcome to the World Wrestling Federation for over 50.
Bring it. That's not what I wanted to do. I was trying to run at him. It was one of my go-to things. I really do a lot of running moves in the Ukes games and the Aki games. Yeah, that's a run. C right is to run. So many times he's gonna go for that haymaker, and I hit it surprisingly enough too. I hit it all the time. Yeah, like right there. I don't know what I'm supposed to do there. I would be really mad if the moves that I'm supposed to do, while I've Irish whipped somebody off the ropes, still had to be like a 3-button input. Seems like a little bit much, doesn't it? Jesus. Weak ass little kick. Christ. Oh my god. Man, everybody talks too much. Might have to switch this over to easy mode, honestly, because it's just so tough to get used to the Warzone and Attitude, the Acclaim style. When you're so ingrained in Aki and Ukes engines. Christ. Yeah, I got a Samoan drop. Was that really in? I don't really even think that's something in Mick Foley's arsenal necessarily. I'm trying to rack my brain, like think of like Mick Foley doing a Samoan drop isn't as easy for me to picture. Yeah, the DDTs, absolutely. I was honestly hoping that a double arm DDT would be like an alternate finisher for Mick Foley in this game, but it's not. It's just one of his regular moves. Let's get back in the ring. Just punched him right. Oh, I did a dive to the outside. I did not expect to be doing that. He is beating me, which is fucking annoying. Trying to do, like, my name is flashing blue. I don't know necessarily what that means. I would really, really like to do.
To the top rope.
Oh, no, don't. Do not. Do not do this. Good. There we go.
Against the ropes.
Who are you hitting? The other thing, especially when you do use Mankind a lot in this game, you'll notice that they decided that Mick Foley actually his voice is just that of a injured pig, like on a farm.
Listen to this crowd. What's going on here? I almost want to start chanting myself. Farouk, the seeing star.
I'm trying to do the damn mandible claw. I was told it's you have to hit to do like specials, especially. You have to do block and the block and tie up buttons at the same time. So no matter what, that's a button combination that's in there. But I have no idea if I'm doing the full circle. Like, I don't know if I have to have a certain situation ready to go, or if I can just do it. Because my assumption, I think every time you've seen Mick Foley doing the mandible claw, he pretty much does it on people just when they're standing up, and he just shoves his hand in there. Neck breaker. See, that's more. I think that's more of a Mick Foley move than the Samoan drop. That one's kind of like sticking out to me. I'm like, does he do a Samoan drop? That doesn't seem right. I'm trying to think of whether this costume that he has at this point is something, because the brown Mankind getup is one thing, and then the Have a Nice Day kind of more of Mick character into him while he still had the brown thing. I don't know if that's something I can't really picture from real life. There you go. Just want to get him into red and really, like, come on. So, like, I'm trying to picture that. Is that a real, Do I have to do a tie-up first? Maybe? Fucking... I just want to do the fucking mandible claw. Like, I want that, because it's a special. It's his finishing move. Like, I want to move this match along and make something of a spectacle out of it. I think this is the thing that you'll find is going to happen a lot. If you don't know the characters, each character really well, when you try to do a match with them, it doesn't seem like it's gonna have much of a flow to it. It's just gonna be a lot of this. There's not gonna be ups and downs and momentum, and I think that's the thing that Aki really kind of figured out, is that wrestling is not a game of... It's a game of swinging momentum, not like a health bar thing. And, like, yeah, you have to wear your opponent down, you have to do stuff like that, but I have this feeling like if you fired up an Aki game like a No Mercy, and you had if you automatically had the ability to... No. God damn it, really? I feel like if you were playing like No Mercy and you automatically had the ability to just do your finishers, like, you could actually pull off squash matches, like something that wouldn't really happen in a real wrestling game is squash matches. It just doesn't work that way, because you have health and stuff and momentum to build up. You could put Brock Lesnar versus Heath Slater in 2K18. I have a feeling it still would take 5 minutes. But I at least like conceptually the way that Aki games work and determine how things. Sure. The way that Aki games determine how people are successful or not, I think that could happen in an Aki game. This obviously you couldn't do. I don't like the idea of health in the game, but that's just because you've been spoiled with something else, and I think that's a thing that I have to like get away from if I want to judge this game on its own. Get away from the idea of what Aki does. Don't think about the fact that, man, got WCW Revenge coming up soon. Like, I really want to play that. So, that'll be it for today. You saw me lose to Farouk twice, which will never happen to Mick Foley ever. But I think I might need to put it on easy just for the sake of, being able to do this without studying at length. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think doing challenge mode is necessarily going to be the most interesting thing either, because I don't know if they'll even work the few stipulation modes that are in here. I feel like, even though I'm not going to know the characters that well, I'd rather come back next time and do the cage match Royal Rumble, which apparently is only in the N64 version, not the PS1 version. No. Royal Rumble, cage match, weapons match, tag team match, actually use the headbangers. So that's what I'd expect next time. I will try and do the challenge mode by myself and see if I can actually win it, but you don't really get that much out of it, I don't think, other than being able to unlock Dude Love and Cactus Jack, which I'm not sure exactly how. So that's it for today. It's WWF Warzone. It's not a car crash, Mick Foley. It's not a car crash, but it's not, it's not its successors. It's not WrestleMania. It's not No Mercy. So thank you for watching, though. I'll see you next time.